Right then, welcome back to the second part of our beat drop challenge, and I've got a slightly different groove ready for you today. It's a bit mental, and what I'm going to do, I'm not sure if I'm completely in love with it, but it's very strange, so I'm partially like it. And what I'm going to do is try and show you how to do a complete piece and use some of the more advanced functions in BandLab. What I did is all this information here I started with at bar 1, and I decided, because things in this kind of music normally move in batches of bars of 4, so 1 2 3 4, that would be your first chunk, and then 1 2 3 4 up 5 to 9 would be your next chunk, and then 9 to 13 would be your next chunk, and then 13 to 17 would be your next chunk, working in 4-bar chunks. I wanted it all to kick off at bar 17. Now bear with me, this is crazy sounding, but we're going to improve it. Okay, it does sound like I've spent too long at non-stock, but it's got potential. Everything is working in the same key, which is sort of F sharp minor. It's cheating a little bit, but we've got one drum beat which sounds like this, one bass line, one kick drum, a bit of percussion, and then I love this little vocal chop thing. But the thing which makes it sound completely mental is this little pad sound in the middle. So that's everything on, so I might as well turn all the solos off. Okay, so that's the thing which makes everything go a little bit weird. Now, one thing that you guys want to start doing is using these volume controls over on the left hand side. So it's that pad sound which is too loud. So I'm going to drop it down. The temptation is to turn everything up. If you were to publish this on Spotify or iTunes or something like that, any of the streaming services, they're really fussy about how loud your tracks are. So even that is too loud. So plus numbers for volume, not good, okay? So that's better with that little bit quieter. That's job number 1. Just make sure everything's balanced okay. Job number 2 is build your structure. The pieces of work I've heard so far, people have done a great groove, just like the one I've done, but what they haven't done is built it up from the beginning. I recommend starting small and then doing these 4-bar chunks. And then if I take the loop off here a second, we can do this little trick of having a mini bit of silence. So I'll play you from here so you can see what I mean. So that little mini silent drop there is really useful, and then we got a bigger one coming up later on. And it's adding that big bass thing which really kicks it off, and the extra set of drums underneath which really help. Make sure your structure's in place, that you've got these thin sections, that you've got these thick sections, and the little moments of silence are a really useful device to help it make it exciting. So that's one little thing you can do. Structure, a little mini mix using the volume controls to turn down is really useful. And then we've got some slightly more advanced things to try as well. Let me show you what I mean. I've got this weird vocal chop thing going on. Now we could make it sound a little bit more unique by using this button down here. This is the effects section, and effects tend to fall into various categories. Distortion, we could get very aggressive with the sound of that. So let's try a puff pie. It could be useful for a few minutes, but by itself it's not great. Reverb is the sound of a room, but I'm going to try using this filter echo kind of thing. Just adds a little something. You can add another one if you wanted to. Let's see what this one goes like. Let's try a bit of wobble on it. So you can have lots and lots of fun. Best used with discretion, a bit like seasoning food. Much as I love adding chili to absolutely everything, it's a good idea that not everybody likes the top of their head sweating every time you have some food. Same with effects. It can start to make you feel a bit seasick if you add absolutely loads. A lot of the sounds in BandLab have got quite a lot of effects on them already, so you've got to be a bit careful. Structure. Doing a mini mix using the volumes over here, and then making sure you've had some effects. Right, something else you might like to try is this automation thing over here. I'm going to do these guys over here. I'm going to slowly turn up that volume by adding dots. Not playing the right bit. There we go, solos on. So that's a bit slow getting to that point, isn't it? So I'm just going to drag that back to here and see if that helps. So that helps there a little bit. That's all under that little control there. If it ends up looking like the wobbly teeth of a psychotic python, then you've probably added too much automation. Again, less is more with any of these seasoning type things. Getting into the stuff which I really want to see you guys being more ambitious with. It's fun playing with other people's loops, and I do love hearing other people's loops. That's great, but it's you guys coming up with your own ideas, which is better. Now, as much as I love listening to other people's loops, what we've got to get you guys doing is creating your own. And the best way of doing that is to have a safety net of a nice little groove going, and then go to add track, and we're going to add an instrument. He said, there it's appeared now. And I'm going to find out what instrument I'm using by pressing this button here, and at the moment it's set to piano sound. And then the nice thing is that you can use your keyboard to help you play something. Okay, now I'm choosing the notes in F sharp minor, and I'm going to put a PowerPoint along with this so you've got the pentatonic scales for every key. You need to know what key you're working in. It's at the top of the screen there. So I'm working in F sharp minor. Nothing scary about it. Sounds like this. I'm going to change it to a different instrument. So I'm going to go to the ones over here, and I'm going to go to synth leads, and I'm going to choose something like that. I have no idea what this sounds like. So it doesn't sound too bad. And now I want to come up with my own pretty little pattern which goes over the top of what we've got. Now we know we're in F sharp minor, so I'm going to make F sharp my main note, and then I'll be putting the notes which I could be using up on the screen at the same time. recommend limit yourself to those 5 notes in the pentatonic scale and just noodle around until you've got a shape. To be honest with you, I can just get away with the F sharp and the C sharp from that scale. I'm just going to get down there as well. Okay, so I'm just going to do this with 2. So I've just come up with my own little loop to go on top of what we've got already. And it looks like this. Okay, so I just double click on there. And then this is the button to press. Quantize. So if you are feeling more advanced, the thing to do is to make up your own loops. Last level for you to try and have a go at is to see if you can learn how to play other people's stuff. Now, back in my day, when we were kids, we didn't have the internet, and if we wanted to play along with Guns N' Roses or Nirvana on our guitars or keyboards, we had to sit down and actually work out how to play it. And that's what I want you to do. The problem is if you try and do that with pop songs nowadays, it's dead easy to find out tutorials on YouTube. We do that in year 9. You can look up the chords and the notes and the melodies to pretty much anything for free. And what you're not doing when you do that is you're not training your ear to pick out notes. So what I've done is I've created a piano track by going to Add Track, Instrument, and I've just left it on its default setting, which is piano. And I've gone up a few octaves by using these buttons here. And what I'm going to try and do is learn how to play the little vocal chop which is going on, which sounds like this. Now to do this, what I had to do was solo the vocals, and I've also got my piano soloed as well so I can hear both at the same time. Alright, and I'm just using the instrument button down there to turn my piano on and off. Okay, so I know this is ninja level, but what I've done is I've slowly gone through and tried to work out what the very first starting note is. So it's ba-da-da, I need to find what that note is. So I've gone through all my keys. That's not right. That's not right. It's not right. Not right. Okay, so I worked out that the starting note is a D sharp. Now, I've prepared this, but what I've worked out is it goes, whoops, he said. Whoops. So mistakes don't matter, children. Something like that. Okay, so that took me a little while to work out. Took me a little while to work out, but that's what I want to do. So the advanced, ninja GCSE level is see if you can work out the loops that other people have programmed and play along with it. That is going to be the absolute best training for your ears. And if you're going to go on and do composition or music production, the people who've got the biggest ears and be able to pick out tunes are going to be the ones who are going to do the absolute best. So just to summarize what we're doing for the last part of our beat drop challenge is, even though mine's completely mental, I accept that, we have an interesting structure which goes in 4-bar chunks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next point, something interesting is happening. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Next point, something's interesting happening. We've got these little silences which to add emphasis. We've got turning things down using our little mini mixer down here. We can add effects to certain channels, whichever ones we want to add effects to. We can do automation to turn stuff up, but just remember that if it looks like your nan's teeth, then it's not going to be any good. You want to keep it nice and level most of the time, if at all possible. And then silver medal goes to the people that can write their own loops on top, like this one here. And then gold medals go to the people who can pick out a loop that they've already programmed in. It is possible, and those people will be the ones that go on and become world famous music producers. Alright then, thank you very much for listening. We've got a couple of weeks to work on this. Stay safe, and I will see you all again very soon.